Brodes Media.
What's going on, everyone? Before we dive into the action, we are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button as well. You are all the best. On Twitter, at Brodes81, we just hit 6,000 followers. But if you're looking for some great in-game assessment, some funny tweets, some funny humor just in general, make sure you hit that follow button there, too. With that, you are awesome. I love you all, and enjoy the show. Well. What do we have here? They're 1.5 games back of the division lead. It makes no sense. This world makes no sense. The Mets lost to the Marlins, and the Phillies won 3 straight ball games. I'll say this, and I know that I've mentioned this on a previous show, but I just want to make sure that this is standing out to everybody. I'm not going to change my tone or change my emotion on this team until I see this weekend series play out. Quite frankly, I've been hurt so many damn times, so I'm going to be very skeptical on how this all plays out, just as much as the Mets met the Phillies Philly. They have lost the series to the Pirates. They have split against teams that they should annihilate. So I've seen them fall flat on their face so many times before. So I'm not trying to get hurt, and I'm going to hold myself here because I've seen this team play a lot of baseball games, and I've seen the unfortunate product more than I have the exciting product. Now, I'm thrilled. I really am. Even though I'm being cautiously optimistic, I am very intrigued for what's about to occur because this is going to be bonkers. There's no way between these two teams fighting for a division lead, it's going to be normal and it's going to stay status quo. It's going to be bizarre. It's going to be mind-blowing. It's going to have special moments. That's just reality of the situation. So I know it's going to get even more outrageous than we all have already sat through. That's just inevitable. So we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. And for this game specifically, I am loving everything from Zack Wheeler. We saw Josh Bell go yard and hit an absolute missile off of him in that 8th inning, which was extremely unfortunate. But other than that, he was cruising and doing what Zack Wheeler does. I remember earlier in this game, it was against Sanchez, so it was righty, and the movement on his pitches that just tie him up incredibly, where he's swinging and missing and looks fooled. He had no business taking a hack, but by the time the ball moved out of the zone, it happens in a half a damn second, but you look like an idiot walking back to the dugout for Zack Wheeler, who finished the day with 7 1/3, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. You know, I actually saw on Twitter, and I was a little shocked to see this, although maybe I shouldn't be, with just the overreaction to a lot of things in this city, specifically when it comes to Joe Girardi at times, even though it's very warranted at times as well. This is where it falls into the extreme category. I actually saw individuals upset with Joe Girardi for putting Zack Wheeler back out in the 8th inning. Why would you be mad at that? That's what you are supposed to do with your top talented pitchers. That's what you do. You live and die with your best talent. You live and die with a dude like Wheeler on the mound. If Josh Bell hits a moonshot, you tip your cap and you go to the next guy after that. We bitch and complain when you take out Ranger Suarez at 33. We bitch and complain when we've seen Aaron Nola get yanked in the 60s before with the pitch count. We yell when we see a guy who clearly has another inning in him and Joe Girardi elects to say, you know what, your night is over because I want to make sure you're healthy, or I want to make sure that your pitch count doesn't get too high. With Zack Wheeler, you let him go until he's not ready to go anymore. That 8th inning was all Zack Wheeler after that 7th inning, okay? It's crazy. Like, then you're just yelling to yell. In what universe can you get mad at Joe actually doing what you want him to do with all the other pitchers when he doesn't make that decision? So I was getting frustrated. How? How can you possibly let your frustration fly on that move? Can't you just recognize that's proper? And Zach got hit, but that's proper, especially knowing your bullpen has been abused and can use a night off. Also factor in that Connor Brogdon did have to hit the IL. Shame on me for claiming it was a possibility that they were babying him because they baby a lot of their pitchers. Clearly, it's serious enough for him to miss some more time, and they had to really battle and have Zack go as deep as possible. So I just can't believe it. It's really wild to me to feel that strong about Zack Wheeler attempting to finish an 8th inning. One thing that scares me, though, with this Phillies team, although there's a billion, whenever they score, the following inning seems to give them a bit of trouble. First off, Jean Segura hits a bomb on the first pitch to set the tone, even though Patrick Corbin and Wheeler were basically going toe-to-toe after that, and they should have lit up Patrick Corbin way more than they did. His ERA, 5.74. I mean, how does he strike out 8 guys and look that smooth and flow through the lineup after that first pitch swinging by Jean Segura? That needs to be cleaned up. I wish they just pounced and stepped on their throat from there, but they weren't able to produce another run until that 7th inning, and JT Realmuto plopped one right over the wall. They were playing it in the outfield as if it was going to bank off the wall and play it from there, but it just got over there for a 2-0 lead. Then Torreyes, who's just ridiculous, you throw him in the lineup over Didi Gregorius. He hits a bomb. That's his 5th. That's his 5th. If you look at his numbers this season and the production he's given the Phillies, it's just mind-numbing how it's been this effective and how he's been this much of a serious, legitimate factor. Anyway, the Phils are up 4-0 in the 7th. What happens in the bottom half of the 7th? It's 4-2. In the 8th inning, Bryce Harper hits a bomb. Blows kisses. Mwah! 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 To all the Nationals fans. And there was also an earlier situation when he's at the plate and Tom McCarthy, Ben Davis were both not talking, so you can hear the fans screaming in the background, and you can basically hear someone telling Bryce Harper to go spend all his bills at the strip club. Pretty good moment. I think I actually have the audio. We clipped it for Brodes Media, and you can follow Brodes Media on Twitter at Brodes Media, and you can also follow my personal account too at Brodes81. Shameless plug. Okay, let's see if I can find that clip, and here it is, and this is going to play right now. It's 5 seconds. Okay, here we go. Love that. Just absolute classic. Great timing, great execution, and they elected to not mention anything on the broadcast. I'd probably have some fun with it, just like they did with Ricky Bo in between innings. I don't know if you guys caught that. Maybe that was your piss break or your food break or your drink break. Who knows? Maybe that's when you let the dog out. But Ricky Bo's daughter was in the stands, and she was with her boyfriend, and they cut back to the studio. A bar can hit Ricky Bo, and he's got a bat in his head. That's fucking classic. I thought that was great. Funny moments today for sure throughout the game. Pretty damn good. But yeah, in reality, though, getting back to the 8th inning after Bryce Harper let it go, which he just stays hot. Outrageous what he's slashing right now. His OPS is 6th in baseball. It's no joke what he's doing, and he's doing it hurts. He's not even healthy. He's definitely banged up. He's not feeling 100%, but that adrenaline rush is fueling him when he's at the plate, and that hot streak is not going anywhere. This is the best version of Bryce Harper we have seen in a Phillies uniform. This is the $330 million production on the field, and it's crazy. It really is. He is seeing the baseball better than we have probably ever imagined. If we could ever imagine how great it would be for Bryce Harper to square up the baseball every time he's at the dish, yeah, this is it. He's grooving, and I don't see a way that he's stopping any time soon. He's got that killer eyes in him. Good for you, Bryce. Good for you. Bell hit a bomb in the 8th, though. Every time they score, you have to sweat it out the next inning. Good for Hector. Came in a big spot. Had to get 2/3, got 2/3. Alvarado in the 9th. I'd be lying if I said I felt extremely comfortable. But when they were thinking about going to Ian Kennedy, They didn't think it was good for him. They wanted to make sure his health was fine. 4 straight days would have been a lot of getting up. But that goes back to, why did you even use him earlier a couple games ago? That made no sense. I could see last game, even though he let up a 2-run home run in that 9th inning, I could understand going to him then. The previous outing, why? What are you doing? What makes you feel Ian Kennedy there is strong? And then the second game against the Pirates, he warmed up but didn't even get his number called. So the way that you used him earlier, and I'm not telling you that I feel extremely confident in Ian Kennedy because of what I've seen so far. Is it better than Jose Alvarado? I honestly don't know. I do not know the answer to that question because what we have seen, that very short sample size, could smell like a David Hale, could smell like a De Los Santos whenever he does get the nod. Hold your horses. And Alvarado's the same way, but there's even a more extreme difference. Like, if you think of the gap between David Hale and Alvarado, the fact that it's that large with Alvarado being how up and down he is, think about where David Hale and De Los Santos really are on that scale. The short amount of times we've seen Ian Kennedy, it's been closer to David Hale than it has been Jose Alvarado. But I'm afraid of Alvarado on the bump, regardless of the outcome. I thought he got lucky. First batter, he falls down 2-0 in the count. That outside pitch should have been 3-0. He gets lucky, it's 2-1. Then there was the inside corner at the bottom part of the plate. That one was closer. I could understand the Blue calling it a strike. It was a ball, so instead of 4 straight pitches to walk the first batter, and oh, by the way, Rhys Hoskins missed a ball over by the foul territory that he should have made, and good thing that didn't come back to bite him. I didn't think Rhys Hoskins was fully healthy, though. A couple days after finding out about an injury, limiting him running-wise, he's probably fighting through it and wanting to play that badly. But, it's definitely concerning to think about what his injury was. Rhys Hoskins not being the most, mobile guy in the world is the best way to describe it. And for him to get back into the lineup so quickly, there was some issues, and my fear of just him running around, whether it's running to first base or making a play at first base or trying to track a ball into foul territory, but he missed it. That has to be completed. That could be the difference in a game or not when you have a question mark like Jose Alvarado on the mound. That has to be caught. Alvarado, though, gets out of it. Then you had Zimmerman ground out to, was that short or second? Second base, I believe, if I remember correctly. It was an infield ground out. Yeah, it was to second because I remember specifically saying in my head, well, if there was someone on first base, it probably would have been doubled up anyway, although probably a different pitch sequence. Maybe you head in another direction with your thought process anyway. So who knows if it necessarily would have been the same or wouldn't have been the same. Doesn't matter, though. Phillies win the ball game. Alvarado with the K. Love it. Never nervous. Always nervous. That's reality. And now you have Chase Anderson on the mound tomorrow to see if you can take that series lead. Now you're starting to get into that wonkiness with Chase Anderson. Now you're starting to get into the ugliness where there should be a different feel. When you see Zack Wheeler's name on the pitch card, on the score card before the first pitch, you understand you're going to be in a fantastic position to come out victorious. It doesn't mean it's automatic, but you know you're at an advantage before that first pitch is really thrown. I don't know if you necessarily feel the same way when Chase Anderson gets the nod. You'll have to rely more on your bullpen because I promise you he's not going to go 7 1/3, which gives you a larger margin for error. So just looking at some stats for the day, Jean Segura had that solo home run. Rhys went 0 for 4. I don't think he's fully right. I don't think he's fully ready to go. They're desperate, though, with Andrew McCutchen out. They got to find a way to get more pop into the lineup. I'm sure Rhys wants to play and compete out there as much as he possibly can as well. So just something to keep an eye out on. Maybe he just gets better and there's no sort of setback. Although it is very possible that something could tweak or something can go the wrong way when making a play on a ball. So just keep an eye out on for Rhys. I'm a little nervous for where he's at percentage-wise physically went out there on the diamond. Bryce had 1 hit. JT with 2. He's up to 275 on the season. Alec Boehm, he walked once and went 1 for 3. He's definitely on one of his stronger stretches for sure. Before this game, just to give that some context. So this stat was prior to today's outing, keep in mind, that Alec Boehm was, let's see exactly where it is here. There were a lot of tweets today about everything that went on. All right, so boom, 9 for 21, which is a .428 batting average with 1 home run and 5 RBI in his last 5 games. Keep in mind, this is before tonight. Since June 1st, .319 batting average with an .810 OPS. So I'm still looking at the power numbers. I would love to see him drive the baseball more and give it a little bit more of a how do you do to create some buzz. But this is still better than nothing, of course, and hopefully you just pray that that will naturally come with this body frame. It seems it's in there. I mean, if you look at him, it does look like there's more power in that body frame. He's a large individual, but we're just not getting it. So hopefully that changes. Torreyes with the big hit. Luke Williams, I'm never a big fan of when you throw the Luke Williams in there, I'll be honest. Even the Jankowskis of the world, who's batting .306 on the season. Whenever you see Luke Williams too much or Jankowski too much, that's when it makes me feel there's too much going on here. That's not winning baseball, though. Basically, being 500 is not winning baseball either. You're just lucky to be alive in this National League East. Odubel Herrera, 0 for 4. He's now 240 on the season. You know, early in the year, it was such a disaster at center field. You were willing to give him an opportunity because of the Adam Hastley, Roman Quinn, Mickey Moniak situation that flat out sucked. He started out slow, but then he got into a groove. And we've witnessed Odubel Herrera for a long period of time here now, where we kind of understand the flow of who he is. He gives you the 3 weeks of good baseball. He'll respond with 3 weeks of a slump. Then he'll have 2 weeks of good baseball, 2 weeks of a slump. You never saw, after the first initial good run, you never saw him bounce back to any sort of real legitimate window. He had a home run the other day, but just making it happen once in a blue moon or a little appearance here and there where your head just pokes out, that's not the same as an actual 2-week span where Odubel's constantly putting together 2 hits, knocking in 2 RBI, being the spark plug, walking, smacking his hands together, getting the clubhouse going, getting the fans maybe a bit motivated and excited. It's sort of stayed in that territory of tougher for him. Maybe it has to do with how long he was out of the sport of baseball. I can't imagine it being an easy transition to go from every day in the MLB being suspended and then getting thrown right back into the mix. Although, when you do have some sort of success, it's clearly there, but maybe the adjustment, readjusting after maybe some guys figured him out a bit, figured what he liked to do again, and kind of countered Odubel Herrera. Never been able to readjust and rework things to find himself once again. But if you could get that out of Odubel Herrera, that would be significant to this team's run, especially not having a player named Andrew McCutchen who's doing everything in his power to return. That would be nice. It would be nice. I'm not betting on it, though. Speaking of betting, DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but America's top-rated sportsbook. Speaking of America, our top athletes are over in Tokyo competing for the gold. And DraftKings has a medal-worthy offer just for my listeners. Listen to this great offer. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits if America wins a medal. That's code Brodes to turn $1 into $100 in free credits for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Anytime Hotline. Let's go to it. Let's see what the people thought after this 5-4 victory in Nationals Park, where Bryce Harper let the emotions fly on his sleeve and he kissed all the fans. You know, maybe, was he showing love to the Nats fans? Or were there a lot of Phillies fans there? Because let's be realistic. Washington, D.C. does not have a lot of fans in general. I was actually at a game at Nationals Park a couple years ago when they played the Diamondbacks just to see the ballpark, and it's dead in there. It is not intense, and it's not what a baseball diamond should all be about. It should be a little bit better than that, but we all know Washington, D.C. fans, it's one of those areas where you're from all over the place, so it's not as if everyone is purely dedicated to their hometown teams. Anyway, was he blowing kisses to the Nats fans, booing him, saying he's overrated, saying he's not worth the money, being jerk-offs, or was he blowing kisses to the Phillies faithful that did make the trip down, or they just live in Washington, D.C., and they're from the Philadelphia area? Because that's in play as well. And according to John Clark, if you look at Bryce Harper's numbers against his former team this season, it reads this: 405, 5 home runs, 7 RBI in 13 games. Yeah, I'd say that's punching him in the mouth. And I would love to see more punches. All right, let's get to the Anytime Hotline. Here we go.
What a win. Barely squeaked it out. I mean, the offense came through late. Didn't really get anything going all game except a couple home runs by our big guys that are staying hot. Zack Wheeler looked really good until that one bomb by Josh Bell, but he's just been getting that one person just been hitting him. He's letting up like one, maybe like a home run per game that's killing him. But overall, I thought he had a good game. And Jose Alvarado, that's a risky decision. And I don't like him in the closing role or any type of closing to a game. But I guess it worked out. And Hector Neris has been pretty good over the last couple of stretches. And Rhys Hoskins needs to make that play in the last inning. I don't care what the outcome was.
I agree with that assessment fully on Rhys Hoskins. That play needs to be made, especially when your bullpen is what it is and you know the identity of who they are. That could possibly change the game. That could be the difference in a win or a loss. That could be the difference in 1.5 games back or 2.5 games back, and that's a losing brand of baseball. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just crush him completely and absolutely annihilate him after this win, but if you want to look at the difference in a team that can win a division and a team that can lose a division, it's something so simple like that. Make the play. Make the catch. You can't trust Alvarado. We've said this a billion times this season. You're forcing pitchers to get 4 outs sometimes in innings, and guess what? Other teams, other opponents will take advantage of that. Even bad squads sometimes will take advantage of that. Now, tonight, that wasn't the case, and this Nationals team is so damn depleted. It's crazy to think about Juan Soto and him being the only guy left when you think about Trey Turner and, well, Bryce Harper no longer being there. Max Scherzer, Anthony Rendon. Like, the Nationals had some serious talent, had a lot of great players. They won the damn World Series for a reason. I'm not necessarily saying they went about it the wrong way, though, stripping it down, because as I alluded to, I wish the Phillies would go down that philosophy and think about that as a game plan, but I don't think they will. And I'm questioning John Middleton as the days go by. What type of owner is he really? Because he's not what I thought he was. During the whole Bryce Harper signing and when that all went down and when he flew to Vegas, he won a lot of fans over. And people really believed in him as he's no joke. He's committed. He's willing to win. And I actually heard the audacity by people on sports talk radio defending John Middleton, saying it's not really his fault. He's willing to spend the money. If you look at his payroll and where the Phillies are, they're top 5 in baseball. He's willing to pay the money. Yeah, but he's allowing them to spend the money on wrong people. Of course, you have the president of baseball operations now in Dave Dombrowski, and before that you had Matt Klentak, but John Middleton allowed Matt Klentak to spend his money the way that he was spending his money. It's foolish. I can't reward Middleton for opening up the checkbook, spending money, and doing it wrongly and putting the people in the wrong position to run the franchise and make those decisions. That goes back on him. Anyway, he's starting to lose, I think, a lot of those individuals that once started to believe in John Middleton, and that's the right way to feel, in my opinion. Some other things that was brought up in that call was Zack Wheeler and his outing, and sometimes there's maybe something that goes down that changes his stat line. And tonight, when you look at his stat line after the game, if you didn't watch it, it probably wouldn't seem as dominant as it actually was. It's just because of that Josh Bell homer, but he was definitely damn good, solid. So many, whew, I mentioned I was going to go back to that 0-2, it was an 0-1 pitch that made it an 0-2 count. I was going to go back to it. I forgot I already mentioned it, though, on Sanchez. I'm going to be dreaming about that my whole night, my entire sleep. My dream will be about that pitch, pretending I'm on the mound. Brodes, you got this. And I'm going to try to execute it. And what's going to happen? I'm going to turn my head, and it's going to be a bomb. Probably. Anyway, Zack Wheeler on July 29th against the Nationals went 7 innings, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 3 hits. Almost a very similar stat line. Against the Braves, July 23rd, 7 innings, 7 hits, only 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. Against the Marlins on July 18th, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. It is kind of funny, though, how you look at the game log and the stat sheet afterwards, and I don't think it truly tells the story of how Zack Wheeler is with the hits and the earned runs at times. Although, I guess it does, to be fair. He's a 2.57 ERA, and I'm talking about 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 4 earned runs when he's going 7 innings, striking out 7, 8 guys, and I guess it all kind of works out. But, if you were just to look at that tonight, 4 earned runs and 7 1/3, I think it was more dominant than that. By the way, I caught myself doing something tonight that I really didn't think I would do, and maybe this is telling you what's happening here, and I don't want to say what's happening here. Maybe you can use the context clues. But after the Phillies game was over, and I had the Mets game on anyway, because when I watch in my man cave, I have the 3 TV setup, so there's always something off to the side, whether it's on mute or if I'm paying a lot of attention or just a little bit of attention, something's there, especially with the Olympics. It's constant action. When the Phillies game was over, I went major change on the big screen, flopped over to a different MLB TV game out of market on the TV that the Mets game was on. But I went to it, and I went to it big time, and I was edge of my seat, 9th inning, man on second base, and hunched over like I'm at the end of the dugout, or if I'm on the bench and I'm ready to kind of do a little fist pump, if you will. So I was there. I was engaged. I was all in, checked in. 1.5 games back. How is this happening? I really am blown away that this is Phillies baseball. Although, it goes back to something pretty simple here as we end it on full circle notice. Should I be surprised? Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Brodes, and I will see you next time.